Today I'm going to talk you through all of these credit cards I have. I have about 19 of them, and I'm going to talk to you about my journey to a million credit card points and how I'm going to do that. So, disclaimer first is I paid a lot of money for this information. I was so tired of seeing everyone on TikTok and YouTube talking about luxury flights, and I was like, okay, but no one was telling me the step by step of how to do it. So I paid a consultant like $5,000 for this information that I'm going to give you all on YouTube. So, one thing that I see a lot of people not talking about in the credit card point industry is that they all have small businesses, and that's why they're able to rack up so much credit card points, right? I also have a business, and like I would say probably 16 out of the 19 credit cards I have are for my business, and the rest, I'm just looking, I probably have more than 19. The rest of the credit cards I have, like these, are I probably have like four personal credit cards. They are for my personal life, right? So I usually keep my personal expenses down and I invest heavily in my business, which is why I'm able to accumulate so many credit card points. I'm currently at the point where I think I'm at 200,000 credit card points, and I would be at more, but last year I took a lot of trips and I spent about 100,000 points on business class flights. So I'm going to go over the three main things to know about opening credit cards and how to do it. One, following YouTube and TikTok videos is not enough. The real strategy is really knowing like when the bonuses are coming out. So what I would do and what my consultant did for me is that we had a plan. I was opening four credit cards in about 4 months at a time to gain like 100,000 points really quickly, right? I believe in the first 4 months we opened probably four of these credit cards, and that's how we got like 200,000 points really quickly. Now I'm focusing on paying that all off with my business, right? And I'm not worried because some of those cards have 0% APR, some of those cards have annual fees, and I'm getting the benefits of that right now because I'm going on trips. The next part you need to know is keeping a card open for too long is at your detriment. You want to close cards pretty much a year after you open them. So at this point, I opened up an Amex Gold card, I closed it in a year. I opened up an Amex Platinum card, I closed it in like a year and 2 days. You don't want to close it before the year mark because the companies will flag you saying that you're just using them for your points, which you are, right? But that's not a problem as long as you follow their rules. So you want to always make sure you have a credit card for at least 365 days and then cancel. So cancel on like the 370th day, 390th day, but make sure you get into that 30-day period, grace period after the 365 days. So for example, when I was canceling Amex Platinum and the Amex Gold cards, I canceled them, I believe, like within the first 30 days of January because the year before I had opened it in December, right? So I was still in that grace period. That is how you're going to get the majority of your bonuses, just by hitting the bonus spend limit, right? That's how you accumulate hundreds of thousands of points very, very quickly. The next thing I'll say is that if you have a lot of anxiety about your credit score, you might need to do some money mindset work before you get into this strategy. Your credit card score will fluctuate a lot. And by a lot, I mean like every time you open up a credit card, your credit card score might drop by 5, 10, 2 points, and you have to be okay with that. As long as you're paying off your balances, you'll be fine. The next part is paying off your balances. This is really important. There's no point in racking up all this credit card debt if you don't have a plan to pay it off. So because I have a business, I'm always generating revenue. I know what my monthly recurring revenue is, and I know how I'm going to pay off all this credit card debt, right? I have a plan, and every time I close a card, I know when I'm closing it, so usually a year and a couple of days, and I have a plan for it to be completely paid off. Usually, all these bonuses that credit card companies have you spend on, like spend $10,000 in 30 days. It's not like that. It's really like spend $10,000 in 6 months. It's more manageable. I know what I'm spending that $10,000 on right away. Like I'm just paying using the credit card to spend $10,000 on a coach. Or for example, when I was buying furniture, I would just use that card for furniture expenses, right? Or when I was opening personal credit cards, I would plan to use those cards on trips. Or one really great hack is I went on a ski trip with all my friends. And if you know anything about skiing, it is very, very, very expensive. I paid for everyone's gear, I paid for everyone's equipment, everything like that, and they all paid me back, of course. And that's how I was able to hit the spent bonus limit in that short amount of time. And then I was able to use the points. You're able to get the points in about like 30 days after the statement closes. And after opening all of these credit cards, before I hired the consultant, I made one big mistake. I opened a lot of these hotel credit cards. So I'm just looking here. Like I opened a Hilton credit card, right? I got 150,000 points because I write and track all of them. But Hilton, Marriott, all the hotel credit card points are like pennies on the dollar, right? They're really not worth your time or your money. You really want to focus on like things like the Amex credit cards, and get the most bang out of your buck for that. The next part is I wanted to say that credit card points should really be used for luxury travel. And I'll tell you why. I was also the person that a couple years ago would get credit card points and spend them as soon as I had them, right? My mom was taking a trip and I would want to buy her a flight. Or I was going from one part of the country, I was flying from New York to LA, and I would want to use my credit card points for that. And it was just a waste, because the same amount you use for like a domestic economy flight can be used for like an international business class flight. So you really want to make sure that you're using the points for international flights or long distance business class or first class flights. When you spend the points on economy, you might be saving a ton of money, but you're just wasting your points, right? I would recommend keeping cash for those expenses. I know it's difficult because I also see all these points in my account and I'm like, oh, I'm taking a flight to, like Florida, and I wish I could just use this on that $200 flight. But the same amount of points it would have taken for me to get from New York to Florida, it would have just been like I could use those points to go to Europe, right, on a business class flight. So you really want to keep in mind how you're spending these points. And then that's pretty much it. That is going to be how you get to 1 million credit card points. It is constantly opening up credit cards. I recommend opening up 1 to 2 a month to get to your million points, and also opening business credit cards. Even if you have a side hustle or you're, running an Etsy shop, you're doing DoorDash, those are still considered businesses, and you can open business credit cards on those side hustles, those side businesses. And the best credit card points are given to small businesses. They're not available to 9-to-5ers or consumers, which is why you want to take whatever side hustle you're doing and use that as credit card points. Okay, let me know if this helped. And yeah, I'm excited to have you all follow on this journey to 1 million credit card points.